So a question we get asked a lot by landlords, our potential landlords, is the difference between licensing and planning permission. Now, licensing and planning permission get regularly confused, being the same thing, and they're actually two quite separate things. Obviously, in previous videos, we've spoken about licensing and when you require a license and what you need to do when you require a license. So, as you remember, 3 or more floors, 5 or more people, the shared kitchen, you will need a license. And as you know, that was just adhering to the right regs and inspection and just getting yourself on the sort of public register. So that's when you need a license. But planning permission is slightly different. So planning permission is if you want to take a shed house still, but you want to go sort of more. You want to put more than 6 people in a shed house. So 7, 8, 9, 10, however many people within reason you want to put in the property. And obviously, so what this requires is you need to apply for a change of use, which is planning permission. So you need to put in a full planning application to your local planning authority, so the planning department in your local sort of local authority, which is going from a change of use from a C3 property, which is under the Town and Country Planning Act 1987. You need to just this is the class sort of planning class sort of structure, where you need to take it from a C3 C3 property, which is sort of a single dwelling house up to 6 people, to a C4 property, which is just a change of use, and that then allows you to put 7 or more people in the property. So you can have up to 6 in the property, but as soon as you want to put 7 in, you need to apply for planning permission. So just touching back on the planning and licensing bit, you could well have a house where you have 2 stories and 8 people, so it doesn't require a license. However, because there's 8 people, you would be required to have 8 people in there. So you can have 6 in there with no planning permission, but to have the full 8 people, you would be required to apply for planning permission. And obviously, you can apply for planning permission, and as soon as the application's in, you can put 8 people in there, but you run the risk of potentially not getting planning permission. So if you didn't get planning permission, you would have to sort of get 2 of your tenants out, which is just a pain. And so we would suggest that you just apply for planning first, or put 6 in, apply for planning, and when you don't get granted planning permission, you can at least sort of either add when necessary. So just a few little things to remember about planning permission. Is you need to have, and it varies from local authority to local authority, but you need to have sufficient car parking spaces for most of your tenants, so ideally off-street parking. That will be one of the key considerations they have for your planning application. The other thing you need to consider is bin storage, so you need to have plenty of room for larger bins, because as soon as you go over that threshold of 7 people, 6 people, you require larger bins. And then you need to have secure bike sort of storage as well, so lockable bike stores, again for every bikes for every tenant, or potential bikes for every tenant in the property. So those are the 3 key things that you need to remember with planning permission. Obviously, when your planning application goes in, people can object to it, and it's just a risky run, but within reason, if you meet the parking, the bin storage, the bike storage, then there should be very little reason why you wouldn't get planning permission, unless you're obviously, that's assuming not in an Article 4 area. If you're in an Article 4 area, such as Oxford or pretty much all London, Birmingham, York, Leeds, anywhere like that, then you're going to have to, even just to turn a single house into an HMO, you have to apply for planning permission and go through this process. So just bear that in mind. Obviously, same thing, you're applying for planning permission to turn it into a shed house, which is obviously what we're trying to do. So any questions about planning and the difference between licensing and planning, then let me know. Just remember, they're 2 separate things. You can have a property with a license but doesn't need planning, but you can also have a property which needs planning but doesn't need license, and then obviously you can have a property that needs both planning and a license. So just bear that in mind. Yeah, if you have any questions, put them below, and I'll get to talk to you soon. All right.